Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay. So we were looking at the subtle difference between the original Ananda and reflected Ananda, non-experiential Ananda and experiential Ananda. We have seen it last week, and I guess we have no doubt about that. And we know that the absolute Ananda, although it is not an experiential Ananda, it's still available to be claimed and to be known. And then the benefit is huge. What is the benefit? We enjoy more reflected Ananda. You understand that, Claudio?
Mm.
Are you with us? It's not. Did you hear me? Did you understand what I said?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
We can enjoy more reflected Ananda by claiming.
Yeah, we want to enjoy the experiential Ananda to the extent, to the degree that you know and you claim your true nature as Ananta, which is not an experience. Okay, you cannot experience your nature as Brahman. Brahman has two aspects to itself, which is existence, consciousness, and limitlessness. This Ananda is the limitless nature of what I am, of what we are. So to the extent that I understand and I claim and I hold this yana, this aparoksha yana, this hard and fast self-knowledge. And then what happens to my reflected consciousness? It enjoys a much more sattva guna, because the ignorance is there for the jiva who believes I am the body-mind construct. As a body-mind construct, I'm always chasing objects of desires and running away from objects of fear, okay? So once I own my fundamental nature, I don't lose my appearance nature, but the fact that I have owned my absolute nature, which is whole, full, and complete, one without a second, it has an effect on my secondary appearance nature. And my secondary appearance nature is going to enjoy the knowledge I spent in respect to Satya in my living experience in Mithya. So how so? I stop running to gain, maintain, and reject or run away from object. I stop the rat race, the chasing things, because I have understood. So this absolute Ananda is not an experience, okay? It is made of pure knowledge, but it's going to produce a mind, a subtle body, and a mind and an intellect that is going to enjoy the experiential Ananda to the extent that those ragas and vershas, those desires and aversions, were neutralized by yana, by Atma yana, okay? So I think this is very clearly understood by every one of us, right? Let me turn off this WhatsApp here. Is it in here? No. Okay, so we are looking into this, okay? And then we looked as well as the nature of nirvikalpa samadhi against the deep sleep. I think we looked into that as well. All of that connects those teachings on the internal meditation, okay, which may be conducive to nirvikalpa samadhi, but may not be conduced. So if Nirvikalpa Samadhi comes, you may say, why not? Let me have a go. Let me give a try on this, But our goal is what? Sahaja Samadhi, a very clear mind holding the knowledge, okay? It's not like going to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, but the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the Vedantic Nirvikalpa Samadhi has a different flavor to it, because when we go into that, blank mind, we go with a momentum which is subconsciously, is Aham Brahmasmi. When you come out to remember, yes, I was experience my full, whole, and complete nature as Aham Brahmasmi, as Brahman. You understand? So that is the subtle difference between deep sleep. We go to deep sleep out of exhaustion, and we go to Nirvikalpa Samadhi out of a deep meditation, holding the thoughts on the teachings of Vedanta, this homogeneous, harmonious teachings, thoughts, words around these revelations that is going to be subtler and subtler and subtler until I have the opportunity to see how simple and plain my nature as Satchitananda. The words Rasasvada and Sattva Vibhava are used in some other contexts also in a totally different meaning. So we also looked into a nice discussion, because in some texts they will say that reflected Ananda, experiential Ananda, is good. In some other texts will say it's very dangerous. So we looked into that last week, and we could understand in what manner it could be a danger, because if I get attached to the experience, and then it becomes an obstacle, okay? But if I just take the Ananda as a bonus, and I keep shifting my attention not to the feel-good aspect of the experience, but I shift my attention again and again to my inquiry, to my nididhyasana. Okay, it feels good, it's very nice, but it's not going to free me. What's going to free me is to hold this contemplation, this nididhyasana, until I have no longer doubt in respect to what the scriptures revealed to me. In Mandukya,
what page we are in? The page.
60. Does anybody have this page? 59.
Okay.
Okay. In Mandukya, when Vedantic meditations talked about the Rasavda, experience the Ananda in meditation is taken as a danger, as an obstacle. No? So, but on the other hand, in other texts, I don't remember if it was the Gita, no, it was the Karika in Mandukya. No, in Mandukya Karika, it's Gaudapada says that it's maybe an obstacle, and I think it is in the Gita that there are some passages that says, or it is in here, that it says that, you remember what it says? It says it's good, but I'm not remember the passage. Excuse me for a moment, I need to get my verse, because here it says, verse 29. So you need the verse as well, right? So remind me to send it to you, or maybe somebody can post it to him. The verse only. Okay, the verse does not explicitly say anything about the good thing. Oh, it says the total stimulus we seen due to the experience of bliss is the third kind of meditation. Yeah. So here it is how do you say, giving emphasis to the bliss, the experience of bliss. The total stillness within due to the experience of bliss is the meditation prescribed here. Rather, one should spend time in the practice of these 6 meditations, including this meditation that brings us into bliss. And then in the commentary, it was said that it is good in the sense that it's going to produce, it is, in fact, this experiential bliss is a byproduct of sattva guna. Sattva guna is going to bring a very focused and clear, intelligent intellect mind. So you just live along the experiential bliss aspect and take the fundamental, the cause of that experiential bliss, which is a sattvic, clear, contemplative mind. You understand? So you just reject more or less one aspect, and you say, okay, I'm experiencing bliss because my mind is contemplative. What am I going to do with this contemplative mind, with this still clear sattvic mind? So I'm going to do my nididhyasana until my self-knowledge is a doubtless self-knowledge. So this is the point. The division is not absence. This leads to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, in which the subject-object division is not felt. The division is not absent. However, there is a division, and we saw that last week as well. To feel the division, conscious mind is required. Naturally, the thought that is happening in the subconscious mind is called sukshma vritti. Is that momentum, that subconscious thought. We went into that Nirvikalpa Samadhi, so yeah. And before there was a division, the meditator and the meditation, the object of meditator, and my object of meditation was Aham Brahmasmi, and then as an example, and then the division disappears, but yet a subconscious vritti remains. It's called sukshma vritti, okay? And the vritti is whatsoever words was contemplating in respect to the declarations of the scripts that establish my nature as fullness, wholeness, and completion. Yeah? We are not aware of this vritti when we in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In sleep also, there is a sort of Nirvikalpa in which the division subject-object is not felt. Yeah. Okay. After waking up, I'm able to recollect that I did not have any experience in sleep. Absence of experience is a form of experience, as we know, and that experience is registered in the subconscious mind in a vritti form in that state of no division, in deep sleep state, for example, as well in the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Similarly, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Okay. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a state of absorption in which Vedantic thoughts continue in a subtle form until it becomes subconscious as an internal flow or internal meditation. In the external meditation also, the culmination in Nirvikalpa Samadhi after the 2 Savikalpa Samadhi. So it's saying here that some people move into Nirvikalpa Samadhi even with the eyes open. That is my take on that passage. Okay? So you are seeing things, but you are not seeing things, and because you are seeing everything as sat, as we know. So we are just discounting the namarupas, the names, colors, and forms, and we are seeing the existence and everything. And then you are seeing yourself, and then when you see, you go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, even doing the external meditation, also it says, okay? Again, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is not our goal. Our goal is a hard and fast, well-retained, clear, doubtless self-knowledge. Oh, now I remember the take here. The take is that this ananda that we experience, the bliss which we experience in deep meditation, is seen positively because it is a form of enjoyment You know, it feels so good. It's an enjoyment that we have for our nididhyasana, and then it motivates us again and again to go there. But the danger is we take the joy and we reject the extraction of knowledge. Okay, we need to have the joy, which is going to motivate us, encourage us to go again and again back to that deep meditation. Okay, but knowing that the joy of bliss, okay, Sattvaguna, the experience of Ananda, is not going to free us unless, you know, it is used as a platform from where I extract and hold self-knowledge. Okay, now I remember the enjoyment. Okay. It's good to revise because this is a nice subject and a little subtle, and I had forgotten and I did not prep, to be honest. I was doing so many things and I had to leave soon. What else about this? This claiming of my original Ananda, non-experienced Ananda, is called Atmananda, and it's also called Rasasvada in this verse. Okay. So this state is pointed out as an obstacle for meditation in Vedanta Sara and Mandukya. In this verse, otherwise, it means absorption of the mind in Vedantic thoughts alone while remaining immobilized and not getting distracted with respect to the worldly thoughts. Okay, with this verse, the author concludes the description of the 6 samadhis. Then the author advised that one should be engaged in this samadhi abhyasa continuously until it becomes sahaja samadhi. That is, I love this one, natural. Before I knew Vedanta, I read somewhere that it was a natural samadhi. Okay, said by some as the natural state without having to meditate or going into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, natural state. I did not know what that meant at the time, but the Sahaja Samadhi is a natural state, a mind that was resolved by self-knowledge, that experience shanti, peace, and clarity, you know, so that the knowledge can be held at all times. What it means is Sahaja Samadhi. It means that these Vedantic teachings are behind me all the time, and throughout all the worldly transactions. Okay, so now you have this knowledge is firm, and that somehow resolves my mind with a huge dominance of Sattva Guna. This Sattva Guna allows me to hold this knowledge at all times, and then this properly held knowledge, you know, is going to be with me through all my worldly transactions, and they are very important to be available, especially when situations become difficult, you know, when we experience papakarma. The ahankara is only a role, and the ego is only a role that I put on in life. Life is a play, enacted and managed by Ishvara according to my karma. So a different angle, the karma yogic angle, we see that the ahamkara, the ego, is like a role I play as an agent or an experiencing entity designed to transact, to navigating life. But I know that all of this belongs to Ishvara, okay? Belongs to Nitya, this apparent order of reality. And this apparent order of reality is sustained by this supreme intelligence called Ishvara, okay? So Ishvara is going to manage this entity. The ego is the agent, okay? The experiencing knowing entity, okay? So it is our secondary nature, is the ahamkara, Okay, I should do whatsoever my prarabdha karma presents me as my roles. And the roles demand, yeah, at the appropriate time, in the appropriate manner, it's going to demand my answers, my response. This way of living should become natural to the yoni. And when it becomes natural, that's it's called sahaja samadhi. Beautiful. Krishna describes this state in the Bhagavad Gita. So we don't need to run away from our karmic roles, or social roles. We just allow them to unfold. Huh? Of course, we have our discrimination to avoid those karmas, those roles. So we don't need to accept any role. We can discriminate and say, okay, so I'm done with this, I'm done with that. I'm going to keep it to the minimum necessary so that I don't sin by omission and I don't do anything bad, in the sense of violating the Dharma, the laws of Dharma. So I keep it to the minimum and I play my roles and I adjust my life, and my Sahaja Samaj becomes a very natural thing. But if I am in an environment which is extremely rajasic, and it's unnecessarily rajasic, for example, if Claudio would have 5 children by now, he would be living in a very rajasic environment, okay? And then how are you gonna do? You cannot give away your children. It's no good for anybody, huh? So, and then you say, no, I have to live within this role of having 5 children running around and screaming and so on. And somehow I need to hold my knowledge so that this Sahaja Samaj becomes natural in spite of a very rajasic, active environment, you understand? But if we can, Claudio, I advise everybody, don't have many children, at the most one, if your girlfriend insists, okay? I have had already some disappointments with some of my friends, students in Brazil, come to me, I'm gonna have another child. I say, oh, really? What a disappointment, my friend. Why you are doing that? But I can't say that so openly. I had a student that came back, showed back again in Portuguese, my class Portuguese last weekend, and I knew that she was pregnant. She disappeared, and now the family is 5, wife, husband, and 3 children. And I say, good luck. Good that the child is already growing. But as we say in Italy, if you want to have a bicycle, you need to pedal. That you have to work on it. This way of living should become nature to me. When it becomes nature, thus it's called Sahaja Samadhi. The one who is together, who knows the truth, thinks, I do not do anything at all, even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, walking, sleeping, breathing, talking, releasing, grasping, all kinds of human activities. Anything is happening. The one who is wise, the one who holds this knowledge, okay, it's never going to own those activities because it knows that the activities happens on their own. So, and then a question is left for us to determine. So if everything happens in their own accord, so what am I doing here? No? What is my role here as a jiva, as an experiencing knowing agent, So everything is happening because the one who knows the truth, the Jnani, the wise one, he says that I don't do anything, even through all activities, you know, on all 5 levels, 5 levels of my human experience. I don't do anything. Everything is happening on its own, on their own. Yeah? So what is our purpose then, Claudia? What is, I mean, if everything is happening like that, so what is there for, what is in there for me, and what is my role, and what is my role, my participation, my responsibility, you know? Am I supposed to do what if everything is being done by Ishvara? Huh? It does everything on the prana levels. I don't need to do anything. And then it gives us the 5 sense organs, and then I can do all these things, and the 5 organs of actions that allows me to grasp, to release, to open and close, and everything. So everything was given by Ishvara, and Ishvara is going to stimulate, it gives us the stimulus to do those things. The body is going to do anything. And where am I in this equation, Claudio? I want somebody to answer me this question.
So I cannot how to explain it, but maybe it's actually the ego, the doer, that must do karma yoga, and because the fact is that oh, I don't know how to explain in Arlindo. Because it's illusory also, the ego, so you are not actually the doer, but you have to participate. So I don't know how to explain this concept actually.
Anybody else?
My role is to use my free will to make dharmic decisions that are going to work towards my spiritual evolution.
Very good. Anybody else? Ultimately, we are done. James likes to say that you don't do anything, you are being done by Ishvara. Yeah? Or more specifically, most of the time we are being done by avidya, by ignorance, because we do foolish things a lot before we get wise. Yeah? So things are happening, and whatsoever vasanas, you know, the qualities of my vasanas are going to move me into actions, and more often than not, it's moved by a lot of ignorant impressions or tendencies, you know. So we are being done. We are done by this macrocosm causal body, or my vasana load is being done, but yet, so what is our role? Our role is to understand the system, as Mark was saying, and somehow direct my life towards the highest possible goal. Understand? Ishvara is going to keep doing things for me, but I have direct my life in a way that in harmony with Dharma, and with the goal of self-knowledge and liberation from samsara. So all we do is, okay, Ishvara, you can do what we do, but you are not alone here. I'm no longer accepting ignorance. I'm not going to act upon ignorance. You can try me, yeah? But I'm not going to do, okay? Because I want to direct my life towards self-knowledge and moksha, okay? So it's like driving a car. You have all the parts of the car, including the direction and the tires, and everything is in there. When you go in your car, you turn and you begin, the car does not go by itself. Yeah? We direct the car. So we have these sense organs of action, and all these different levels of human experience, and we need to somehow direct it towards our highest goal, okay? So the jiva is there, and the Ishvara is happy when we start redirecting our life, because he say, okay, another one wanting to come up and coming back, measuring back to the understand that everything is me and everything is Brahman. Yeah, it seems that it gives great joy to Ishvara every time that one of these devotees or these inquirers, understands their nature as the same nature of the creator, So very good. So it means to say that we have a serious, clear degree of responsibility in respect to what we do with our life, if we waste it or if we use it for our highest purpose. After this establishment in my nature, I do not require any Dhyasana as a sadhana because I'm no more a sadhaka. So once we establish, I do not need to do, not even in Dhyasana. I have a friend of mine in Vedanta, Brazil, that he has a very interesting take. Every time he talks to me, he considers himself a yani, he knows, he's clear. But, and I mean, nobody can judge the other, if somebody says, oh, I'm a yani, I know, my knowledge is clear, there is no more chasing, there is no more seeking, there is no more nididhyasana for me, so I don't come to the class anymore. He used to come to our class in the past, because it's over, the search is over, and so on. But there is one thing that he says that gives me a little bit like, this does not sound quite right. He says that I discriminate all the time. I discriminate 24/7. I hear him saying that, and I don't confront him on that because or whatsoever. Here and there, I have placed some commentaries, but when you really establish yourself, your nature, you do not need to discriminate all the time. As it says here, I do not require nididhyasana, a sadhana, all the time. I'm no longer a sadhaka. I'm no longer someone doing sadhanas to establish myself in Brahman as Brahman. Okay? So it's easy to say, I don't need Vedanta, I don't need the class because I do need Dhyasana all the time. I discriminate all the time. This is still something that could be ignorance, or enlightenment sickness, or superimposition of Nitya and Satya. Do you agree with me or not?
I think it might depend upon what he means by doing discrimination all the time, because a yani is a natural karma yogi. A yani would be also a natural, discrimination would be natural. Maybe the thought pattern doesn't have to be there, but underlying, it could be a natural fact of living for that person.
Now,
so you'd have to know that better.
Puts it because I know him. We have long conversations sometimes. Now he stopped calling me, but it's an intense cognitive process. All the time discriminate Satya from Mithya. It's very intense and it's very intellectually, mentally intense. That is a bit strange.
Yeah, I also think, Arlindo, that when someone...
I hope he's not going to listen to this class, but I don't believe so.
No, because it's strange when someone says, yeah, I know, I understand, I am a yani. It's a little bit strange to hear because it seems like a vanity in some way, So it's a little bit strange. And I also hear some in a lesson I heard a Vedanta teacher Nima Muj, Mark knows the name, Nima Mujma, okay, I don't know, that says, Ayani never say I know Brahman. A real Yani says, I have to how you say, because Brahman is always something new to know. You never know it completely, you know. So he says something like this. So it's a little bit strange to hear someone say, I know
Well,
Brahman.
the
So
first
it's
thing I
not,
have to say that whatsoever this Swami or Swamini said is very, very not aligned with the truth. Okay, the Swami, the Yani never says I know Brahman, and Yani says I am Brahman. And Brahman is so simple. It's one of us without second. There is nothing to know about Brahman more than that. The only knowledge is I am Brahman. We have to be so careful. I mean, in the internet, here and there, different sampradayas, there is so much ignorance mixed up with pure knowledge. You understand? So when you see, so Brahman,
she's always in the line of Paramarthananda, and Mark can confirm it. She's actually a really good teacher, connected with all the same sampradaya. But maybe I don't, maybe Arlindo, I cannot explain correctly myself what she means. So maybe it's my fault. What she said. Okay, maybe it's my fault, Arlindo. So
yeah, a real guru doesn't matter, but it helps for you, because if you mistook that in the way you took it, it means that you know, you are still subject to this confusion. Do you understand? So the Yani never says I know Brahman. The Yani says I am Brahman, or I know myself as Brahman. Okay. So and the knowledge I am Brahman is the most simple. It's direct, and once you know it, you don't need to know more or less. You understand? Because you were there shining as conscious existence at all times. Okay. So we can stop at that. All right. So anyhow, I mean, I know people who comes and studies with me for some time, and I have had cases, and then they stop participating for whatsoever reason, and they seem to have benefit from the teachings, and then they don't come back anymore. So nobody knows exactly where each one of us is in this stage of developing a doubtless self-knowledge that transforms our human experience, you know. So we don't know, but I know that a lot of people get very, very clear knowledge, and when they speak and they explain the situation, I can see. And whether or not this knowledge, this intellectual knowledge, was converted into a hard and fast direct knowledge, aparaccio codiana, that convert, that transform the emotional personality, not the intellectual personality, but emotion. This is up to each individual, you know. So a lot of people come, a lot of people go, a lot of people go saying that they got it, and I never get, I don't have any problem. So about that, I find it great, okay? But sometimes when somebody tells me something that sounds like a little bit strange, that's why I shared with you, you know, because he was saying that once I know it, I'm establishing Brahman as Brahman, I do not need to do any sadhana, you understand? And this is a fact. You don't do any more such a mental discrimination. You don't do any meditation. Okay, you just know. You just know. And then if the knowledge is not absolutely retained, okay, and then you can enjoy the scripture. I mean, let me correct myself. A sadhana is always welcome, but not to establish myself in Brahman, but just to maintain the knowledge always clear, fresh, not subject to forgetfulness, okay? So having said so, my sadhana is to share the scriptures, and it has a strong impact in purifying and establish this knowledge more and more clear, and in converting this knowledge into emotional resistance, emotional strength, emotional balance, mental health, and so on. So a sadhana is welcome. Association with the scriptures are welcome, but no longer as a means to establish myself, because the knowledge is that which is always good. So what is the difference then? Is to the degree to which this knowledge has been converted to emotional balance, emotional strength, or emotional self-knowledge. You understand? You understand the subtle difference, Mark?
Yes, I think so. What I'm wondering, going back to the discrimination, what would a Yoni have to discriminate anyway? Because for a Yoni, everything is Brahman. So what is there for discriminating?
Well, you can say, he says that everything is Brahman, I am Brahman, that Mithya shows up all the time, and Mithya again and again deludes me, therefore I have to be alert. That's the point for, and even Papa
Okay.
brought it up when he was leaving the body. Vigilance until the last moment, please. You understand?
Okay.
Because Mithya and Maya is the greatest, strictest, So and
Yeah.
it's good to be vigilant. When this knowledge is properly held and has grown, and it's properly established, this nididhyasana, this sadhana, this discrimination is effortless, like Lin was trying to say, it is a natural, effortless process. Sadhana is usually linked to an effort, okay? When it's a natural process, of just say, okay, so this again, okay, so, watch out, watch out, because, there are some things here that could trick you and bring about ragas and diversions, So, but it is not an effort. It's the yoni. It's just the knowledge is there, and he regroups very quickly, naturally, without having to make an effort. Okay. What do you think, Sylvia?
I say right.
Huh?
Right.
What did she say? I did not hear.
Sylvia says she agrees with you.
Agreed.
She said right. She said right.
Okay, thank you.
I remembered, Arlindo, of the image of Maya in the scriptures, who is a wizard who casts spells on us, right? So the trickster, the wizard who can bewitch you. So
Yeah,
be watchful.
be watchful, yeah. And watchfulness becomes effortless when we are properly established. Okay, so the following class again, he revisits the verse 29. So Alsata was going to read the verse 30. Let's see what he says here. Internal meditation, we have seen this extensively. The seeker should practice sixfold meditation. A few important corollaries should be looked at. Of the 6 samadhis, 4 are deliberately practiced by the seeker, and 2 are internally sabhikalpa samadhi, and 2 external sabhikalpa samadhi. With the help of Vedanta teachings, dwelling on consciousness inside or the existence outside. So he's saying here that 4 of them requires deliberate practice, effort, but then when you go into nirvikalpa, you are no longer making effort. The momentum of our previous effort takes over, and then you go into nirvikalpa, and then there is no deliberate or conscious effort any longer. That's what it says. So no will is involved once we come to nirvikalpa samadhi, no effort on the part of the meditator. It's a great continuation that remains subconsciously. Since no will or desire is involved in nirvikalpa samadhi, it is not dependent on the desire of the meditator, but it's only a possible consequence. So this samadhi is not something that the meditator can directly work for. We can work for only sabhikalpa samadhi. This is very nice. We work for a sabhikalpa samadhi, a sabhikalpa, a beautiful division between meditator and object of meditation, subject and object, when things are very, very clear and calm, and focused. We are working for that, but we cannot say I want Nirvikalpa Samadhi because it depends on something else, okay? It depends on what? It depends on the consequence of the effort I have put during my Savikalpa meditation, dhyana. So I'm working the vision to clear my mind, holding on to the words or to the names and forms and so on, and bring it back, direct it back to conscious existence. And that force is there. And then when we enter the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, so I have no longer will or desire. So many factors are involved in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. In Panchadasa, Vidyaranya says that Nirvikalpa Samadhi also depends on karma. This is very nice. It was worth reading this paragraph. There are many, many facts. A lot of people, they are crazy for Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But it seems that you need to be born with a vasana for Nirvikalpa Samadhi. You understand? Karma. Your karma, somehow, efforts you did in previous births fructifies, and then when you see it, you have a mind that easily goes into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And I have met some people that were a good example of these things. You are going to say something, Mark?
No, I wasn't. The dog started barking, so I was just making sure my microphone was off.
So it depends on karma. Of the several factors that Vidyaranya says that are involved for us to get into Nirvikalpa Samadhi, of the several factors involved in the occurrence of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, some are in our hands. Like, okay, now, what is in my hands? Savikalpa Samadhi. I'm going to really go into deep meditation, okay, holding my Vedantic contemplation. And my goal is not Nirvikalpa Samadhi, but I know that I need Savikalpa Samadhi in order for Nirvikalpa Samadhi to take place, but I don't want real Nirvikalpa Samadhi. I want the natural Samadhi once this knowledge is doubtless firmly held self-knowledge. So there are several factors involved in the occurrence of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Some of them is in our hands, like, okay, what I can do to purify my vasanas and my efforts, my sadhanas. The others are like prior birth karma are not in my hands anymore. Thus, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is only possible consequence of Savikalpa Samadhi, okay? So, the second point is whether Nirvikalpa Samadhi is a compulsory necessity for self-knowledge and liberation. Is it a compulsive prerequisite or necessity? Absolutely not. Okay, it is not, as we know. And maybe I heard some people say, including Ramji, that very rarely he meets Yanis, who have had experience in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, okay? It's very rare. And the fact that a Yani also has experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi does not make him a better Yani. It makes him only a little bit more lazy because he's going to sleep those hours in the night plus those hours in the day that he easily sleeps now into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So the answer is clear. It is an absolute no. There is no necessity. Knowledge does not come from meditation. Knowledge does not come from samadhi, whether it is savikalpa or nirvikalpa. Where is knowledge coming from? Knowledge not coming from meditation, savikalpa samadhi as well. Knowledge is not coming from savikalpa samadhi. Oh, this is strange because I am doing my savikalpa samadhi meditation, my Vedantic meditation, holding on to the words of the scripture, doing my contemplation, and then knowledge should come from there. Knowledge should come from there. I would say that knowledge does not come from a silent mind. Knowledge comes from the removal of ignorance, okay, which is a byproduct of this contemplation. But let's see what this one says here. Knowledge does not come from that. Knowledge is born out of means of knowledge, a pramana. Okay, now we have the scriptures, and the scriptures is going to bring about knowledge, and it brings about knowledge by removing those fake news, fake ideas in respect to what is our true nature. Okay. So knowledge comes from a pramana, an appropriate instrument of knowledge. Meditation and samadhi are not in the list of the 6 pramanas. Okay, the spiritual knowledge arises only from the scripture. Okay, especially Mahavakya Vichara scriptures. What are the Mahavakya scriptures? The Mahavakya Vichara scriptures are the scriptures Upanishads, the Upanishad, the final declarations, okay, which are supported by a lot of commentaries, the Brahma Sutras and the expositions that we all do, that we all contemplate on our Mahatma's words, unfolding those declarations, bringing into understanding. Meditation and samadhi are not pramana. Pramana is the scripture, especially Mahavakya scripture, done with the help of the Guru. Shastra Shravanam alone generates this knowledge. So, and then he says that Shravana alone, Shravana alone, Shravana alone. Shravana is to hear, to listen, to hear this knowledge, with the help of a Guru. Only Shravana is going to generate this knowledge. If one says that Shravana gives only book knowledge, but what is needed is an experience of samadhi, or an mystical experience for realization, this person did not understand yet Vedanta or knowledge. What is this knowledge? You understand? The knowledge needs a means of knowledge. The means of knowledge has to be given or passed by guru to disciple with the help of a guru, not necessary all the time, but from time to time, at least to clear our doubts. So we have this shastra, this scripture knowledge, and it needs to be contemplated upon, and that alone is going to give knowledge. Okay. So we say that if we say that, oh, but it did not transform my knowledge, and then it is just scripture, it's only intellectual knowledge, academic knowledge, or as it says here, book knowledge, okay? And then the person says, okay, now intellectually I have the knowledge, but now I need an epiphany, okay? Big mistake. Vijayarani says in Panchadasa, the liberating direct knowledge has to arise out of Mahavakya Shravana only. Okay, so we have to listen, we have to read, and then in that, the contemplation develops, it carries on, and then the knowledge is accepted and we claim our identity. So it has to be from the words of the scriptures, okay, that this realization happens only. Mahavakya Shravana. Why it says Mahavakya? Mahavakya is the Veda Anta, the end of the Vedas that establish the identity of the body-mind construct as Satchitananda, as Brahman. So those declarations, they are short, they are just comprised, but they need to be unfolded in a certain way that the person is going to work through the logic present in the scriptures until it has no longer any doubts. And then once the intellectual knowledge is a doubtless intellectual knowledge, still it needs to be converted to a paroksha jnana, which is a direct knowledge that transforms our emotional personality, okay? Transform the way we experience ourselves and our environment. As long as I feel that I do not have direct knowledge, what I require is what? Oh, now I have the intellectual knowledge, I'm going to start chasing samadhi. No, if I do not get it, if I have a doubtless intellectual knowledge and I need the aporoksha jnana, what is required as well is more shravanam, okay? More mahavakya vichara. We need to improve. We need to develop, improve our qualifications often, understand? So my shravanam is incomplete as long as I feel that I do not have the direct knowledge, a clear direct knowledge that transforms the way I experience my life. No? Until such time, when I have the direct knowledge, any other sadhana, including Vidyasana, is only for getting the mind prepared, ready for improved shravana. So we do our Nididhyasana, we do our shravana, and we know that there is no better purifier than our shravana and manana. Okay, Vedanta is, after all, the best purifier, or prepper of the mind, if we could say so. As long as I do not have direct knowledge, any amount of samadhi I should use it for coming back to Shravana. Okay, so I go there, I go into bliss, I go into silence, I use that to bring the mind back to our Shravana and Manana and Nididhyasana. Ultimately, realization has to take place only through Mahavakya Vichara. Okay, the investigation, vichara is inquiry, investigation into the meaning of those final declarations of the Upanishads. Okay, clear understanding of the Mahavakyas is self-realization. Clear understanding includes the clear understanding that there is no self-realization other than the clear understanding of the Mahavakya. Very, very nice. It was good. I mean, he has always something to offer when he do, again, a summary of the previous verse. Very, very beautiful. Anything from you guys? Okay.
It's very interesting, the point that Nidhyasana is to bring us back to Shravana. That's really interesting. That's a different take on it altogether. I assumed Nidhyasana was the final stage, integrating the knowledge, but actually it is as well, isn't it? But it's a really interesting point, that
Well, if I do
Shravana and real clear understanding.
Yeah, if we do enough, if we do enough Nididhyasana with whatsoever knowledge we have clearly alive in our intellect, you understand? And then still I'm not getting the aporoksha jnana. And then it's recommended, according to the Swami here, that we go back to the scriptures and we study it a little bit, we hear a little bit more, we do more shravana and mana to improve on our knowledge, so that I can go into deep meditation, into the Vedantic meditation, holding the knowledge. But now that my knowledge that I'm contemplating upon is a much more doubtless knowledge and complete knowledge. You understand? That's the meaning. You are doing Nididhyasana. The Nididhyasana is not bringing about the direct self-knowledge, okay? And then do some more Shravana and Manana, because that's going to allow you to go into the Vedanta meditation with more elements, okay? Because the elements of your contemplation, they are more clear, deprived of doubts and suspicions and vagueness and abstractions. It's in that direction, okay? It means clear understanding of the meaning of those Mahavakyas is self-realization. Clear understanding includes a clear understanding that there is no self-realization other than the clear understanding of the meaning of the Mahavakyas and the Upanishads. Okie dokie. Today is Thursday. We meet on Monday. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamida Purnamudachyate Purnamya Purnamidaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my friends. Namaste, arrivederci, goodbye. See you next Monday, Ishwara willing. Okay?
Bye bye.
Thank you, Arlen.
Thank you, my
Thank you, Arlinda.